Welcome to Brittany's World, a world where we share and talk about the real, the raw, the ups, the downs, the ebbs, the flows, the fun, the chaos, and everything in between. If you're new here, my name is Brittany, and I'm going to ask you to close your eyes for a minute. Okay? Just picture it's 2016. You have a choker on if you're a girl, your mom jeans on, a bomber, and not a care in the world. And if you're a guy, you're probably wearing Yeezy 350s or a Supreme box hoodie or a Champion hoodie. And the music is top tier. I have to say, 2016 was like a sweet spot, and I see everybody doing their 2016 10-year challenge, and I was like, you know what? I want to be a part of this. That was such an amazing year for me, and it just brings back so many like memories. It was honestly a cultural sweet spot, I should say. Your battery could be going dead and you have not a care in the world. Like, you were not pressed. Everybody was in sneakers and like dressed down for the most part, and I feel like life was just easier. I don't know if it was because it was the year that I experienced a lot of firsts in terms of like festivals and just first time experiences, or just, it was just a great year. Like, you literally cannot think about 2016 without thinking about a Snapchat filter, or like using snaps, sending your friends snaps back and forth. The crown filter was like iconic. The dog filter with the tongue that sticks out was like iconic. Instagram, I don't even know if we were using filters like that, to be for real. We probably had a few filters, but I doubt Facetune and all the other apps were a thing at that point. I feel like people were still using ViscoCam and like alternative apps to edit their photos outside of Instagram. I mean, we still do that today, but I'm just trying to set the tone, set the scene, paint the picture in case you weren't there. And if you were there, you know what I'm talking about. I don't have my cards today, so I'm probably going to be referencing my phone, but it's okay because we got a microphone, okay? We are elevating here in Brittany's world. But I will say, you could tell a lot about a person in 2016 just by the music that they were listening to. When I think about the music, I think like, I feel like we were all listening to the same thing. Like, we were all in unison during that time period. Like, well, at least it was me and my friends. Like, I feel like we were listening to the pop hits, and we were listening to a lot of hip hop and R&B. When I think of 2016 for like music, I think of Lemonade. I feel like that was the year Beyonce dropped that visual album that had our jaws on the floor. Like, she was like, I don't even know how to describe what that album was. It was healing, it was soft, but it was like, that, like, she knew she was that girl even back then. She did something revolutionary, like a whole video album, just dropped it, no promo, but yeah, she did something really revolutionary, and I will never forget that moment. Let's not forget Rihanna and Auntie. I feel like that was her last album that she put out 10 years ago. That's insane. Like, that album itself was like a whole feeling, a whole vibe, like a whole different energy. Every song was like a smash on that album, and we'll probably never get another album again from her, but hey, I can live with that. I can just, dig deep in the archives and listen to that and some of her other hits. But that was that era for music. Like, when I think of that, Needed Me, I had that on repeat. We cannot forget about Drake. I think Drake dropped Views that year. That is one of my favorite Drake albums to date. I know that's like a hot take for some people, but I think that was a great album. One Dance dropped that year, and I just remember that song getting spins on spins on spins in every club. Like, I feel like everybody loved that song. Controller, honestly, the feeling that it gives me, like, it gives me that summertime vibe. Like, when I hear that at a party, even till this day, I'm like, ooh, it just, I don't know, it makes you feel like summertime. What else came out in that year? The Life of Pablo era. That was such a fun era. I feel like all of Kanye's marketing and rollouts were so fun. It made you feel like, even if you weren't there, you wanted to be there, but he had a way of making you feel like you were there in the moment. Like, that was just, that was just an amazing time in music. But there were the pop smashes. The Chainsmokers were everywhere. Like literally, you couldn't escape the Chainsmokers at that time. They were literally everywhere. Closer, I still feel like rings off in every Vegas club, every any club that plays top 40. You're gonna hear Closer. You're gonna hear Don't Let Me Down. Like that was just like that whole Chainsmokers era was, yeah, they had that on Smash. Cannot talk about pop music in 2016 without talking about Justin Bieber. I know he just put out Swag, but Purpose, that Purpose era was iconic. Like, I don't know how many times I feel like you couldn't go anywhere without hearing the song Sorry, tongue twister. To the point where like, is the apology even an apology? Because literally we burnt that song out. Like, iconic. Where Are You Now? Oh my goodness. Another one that was also the year Ariana Grande dropped Dangerous Woman. And that was a game changer for women and femininity. Like her vocals out of this world. And Migos, the Migos, R.I.P. Takeoff. Like, wow. Bad and bougie. We were all bad and bougie that year. You couldn't tell us nothing, okay? And yeah, like I said, Snapchat. Like I had 2 Snapchats at the time. I had my Snapchat, my main Snapchat. If you guys are on Snapchat, make sure you follow me. I do post regularly there. Shameless plug. But it makes me remember I had like a Finsta Snap, and I would just post my chaotic moments on there, just doing God knows what, being a little lit, having a little bit too much fun. And if you know me, I'm starting to come out of my shell now, which is partially why I started this. But that was like my alter ego. Okay, my alter ego was on my other Snap account. So I just, when I think of Snap, I just think of like all the memories, and I love how it lets you see your memories, or like will date back to certain times like on your calendar. It's like a little storage bank, and I love that because my 2016 highlights are pretty iconic. I need to log into that Finsta Snap though to see like what's in there, because I feel like I was on that heavy during that time. I also can't talk about 2016 without thinking about like fashion and style, and I am thinking about what I was wearing during that time. I always had some straight backs in, but I was in my natural girl era. Like if my hair wasn't in straight backs, I was wearing my hair curly. I feel like I was like playing an eyeliner. I had like blue eyeliner. I think I would like I had a moment where I was wearing my eyebrows a different color. And not permanent, but yeah, I was just, I don't know. I feel like I was having fun, and it was literally all good. That was also like, during that time, it was like minimal makeup. Makeup wasn't like a huge thing at that time for like women. I feel like it was very minimal. It was glossy lips, nameplates still, like hoops, like that whole era. I think when it comes down to like what I was wearing, I think I wore a lot of Vans that year. I wore a lot of Vans. I wore a lot of mom jeans. I wore bombers. I wore like slip dresses. That was my thing, like long slip dresses. And I love me some straight back braids. Like I was just my bag. What else was a thing? I think like graphic tees were still a thing at that time, and I feel like motocross pants were a thing at that time, especially with like, well, maybe for me, but not to jump all over the place. That like also brings back memories for me, because that was my first ever Complex Con. That was the first year of Complex Con, 2016. And I had the opportunity to DJ the main stage in front of like, I don't know, maybe thousands of people. At least it felt like it. I opened up for 2 Chainz, Migos, and Snoop Dogg. And that was just such a fun experience. Like I was really nervous and very green. It felt like, even though I had like experience, it was just like, I don't know why. It felt like I was kind of nervous because I feel like I was DJing for people that kind of like looked like me, that were in my world, you know what I mean? And that was just an iconic experience. Like, I don't know how to even explain it. Like, Kamaya came out on my set. Key came out on my set. I just had my friends V Live. If you know V Live is the best MC, okay? He might be one of the best MCs on the planet. Yes, said it. He came out and he MC'd my set. The energy was high. Like, it was such a fun experience. And that was the first Complex Con, like 2016. Now I feel like, okay, if I were to ever DJ Complex Con, how could I ever do it again without doing it on the main stage? Like, I just don't know. I feel like we set the tone for that. And that whole day was just so much fun, seeing your friends, running into your friends from all different parts of the world, because everybody had a booth. I was running into homies I haven't seen in forever, and it just felt like a place for culture. And it still is that. But like, the first one, the first of everything is special. That's what it gave. It just gave like so incredibly special. Like, that Complex Con experience was one of my best experiences ever. And I used to make these visual diaries, and I would highlight like some of my experiences. This is also when Complex Con was still in Long Beach. I know like recently within the past couple of years it's moved to Vegas, but it was in Long Beach, and just like taking that trek out there with my friends, just being excited, like that was such a great experience. I definitely feel like I should probably go to Complex Con this year, only because one, it's in Vegas, and like it's like another first for me. It'll be like my first time going to Complex Con in Las Vegas. You know what I mean? But iconic time. That was one of my first. Coachella was one of my first. That was like one of my first years going to Coachella, and I'd always get invited, but I would never go because I'd lived in New York, and I'd be like, to take the plane to the desert, to take the plane to LA to the desert, to drive to the desert was a lot. And this is before there was an airport in Palm Springs. So like, it just felt a little bit much. So I had gotten invited one year with a brand, and I'd went with a brand. Shout out to my guy, Will. And it was such an amazing time. It was such an amazing first experience. This is when the girls were still wearing like floral printed outfits and, flower crowns and lace and all that. That was like that era, the curtain era, like such a vibe. I feel like that era too was the first, even though that was the first Coachella I'd ever been to, I somehow ended up with an artist band. And if you have ever been to Coachella with an artist band, once you go artist band, it's really hard to go back. VIP is a lot of fun too. They're all fun. Like, I don't want to sound like but it's just a different experience. And the first year I ever went, I ended up with that band, and whew, we were just running around like some bad kids. Like, we had a ball. I was just like me learning how to also balance like my deliverables with work, and then also like having fun with my friends that were performing or have done Coachella before. Like, that was like such an iconic experience. I also I remember I think Major Lazer performed that year on the main stage. I think Rocky brought out Kanye that year. Guns N' Roses performed. Mustard brought out YG that year. Literally, I have some really, really cool photos from that. Like, I wish I'm going to share them. Yeah, I'm going to share them. If you're watching, you're probably seeing them right now. But I had a visual diary from that as well. Like, literally, that was an amazing time. Honestly, Coachella feels like euphoric. That was when it felt euphoric. And my friend, I feel like Norma pulled up, and her and I don't think she had a band, and we were able to finesse her in. We were just doing whatever back then. Like, those were the times, okay? Those were the times when you didn't care about how you looked. You were just making it happen, okay? And we made it happen. We sure did. We made it happen. And after parties, everything about that experience made me want to go back the year after, and so on and so forth. To be quite honest, I've been going to Coachella every year since 2016. Crazy. That sounds so crazy, but I've always had fun. Every year I have fun at Coachella. So, but that one takes the cake. I'm trying to remember what else was, South by Southwest was also like a really big moment. South by Southwest takes place in Austin, Texas, for those of you who don't know. It's basically I guess the best way to explain it, and I'm probably explaining it wrong, but I think it's like tech and music, and 1 week's tech, 1 week's music, I believe. And is it tech? I would only go for the music segment. That's the only reason why I'm familiar with it. But 2016, South by Southwest, Fader Fort. If you guys were doing outside in 2016, then you're hip. You know what the Fader is. RIP Fader magazine. But they had the Fader Fort where they had these like really big artists perform. And South by was more of a place for artists that were like kind of on the come up or on the rise. It was a place for them to perform, for them to do press. And it was a place for just like music lovers. And I had so many good experiences over the years, but that 2016 year was like an amazing one. I think that year, like if I can remember, I brought my first manager. Shout out to Michelle. We had so much fun. I think that was the last year of the Ilmore, and I actually performed the last year of the Ilmore. If you know, you know. That year, I remember seeing like 2 Chainz. I think Kehlani performed. I feel like Ram Riddles, Trey the Truth. Who else was there? I met Jazzy. I was going to say Jazzy Faye. Wow, I met Jazzy Jeff that year. And like, for me, that was like a very big moment because he is like DJ royalty. If you know, you know. It was such a fun time. We were on a boat, like in the middle of Texas. There was just so much happening, literally not a care in the world, just vibing, enjoying life. Like you just had to be there, but it felt very grassroots. That's the best way for me to describe it. Like it was very grassroots. It was, like I said, it was artists that were on the rise and not a care in the world. Like literally you were out there with your homies or your team and you were just having fun. And I missed that. And like to think that was the last Ilmore is crazy because the Ilmore alone was such like a cultural movement in music. So yeah, I feel like I had to recap that. I didn't really watch a lot of TV. I feel like that was the Game of Thrones era. And listen, don't come for me. I never watched Game of Thrones. I think I saw 2 episodes. I tried to watch it, but I feel like there was just too many characters in the beginning and it was hard for me to keep up. And I know that is like, everyone says that's the best TV show ever till this date. That and I think Stranger Things dropped that year too. I did not see Stranger Things, but looking back at like now that it's out this year, or they dropped the season this year, seeing all like the highlights for over the years, like I'm like, wow, these people were kids. Like Moonlight came out that year and Hamilton, like people who hated history, Hamilton had people in a chokehold. That was just like such an iconic year. When I think about 2016, I think about like how far I've come in my career. I think about where I was at in my career. That might have been the year I launched my website, but there were, like I said, there were a lot of firsts for me that year. I think I did my first brand deal that year or the year before. I moved to LA in 2016. It literally kind of makes me emotional when I think I really moved to LA like in 2016. That was so long ago, but it feels like it was yesterday. But like I said, lots of first. What an iconic time. I'm thinking of the photos and the people that I was like interacting with at that time, the people that were my friends, like my friend groups, like what I was wearing, my hustle was crazy back then. Like my hustle's still crazy, but when you get to a certain point, you're like, sometimes I still wish I had that drive because, I'll have it in spurts, but I don't have the energy like I used to. Like, even the energy to just run around and be, like, I can hang. And if you know, you know. But I'm just, like, thinking about, I was so green and so, like, my eyes were, like, big. I just wanted the experience. Like, I wanted to have fun and I wanted to work hard and I wanted everybody around me to like feel good, and I feel like I'm still like that, but I think I was having more fun for me. I think these days I'm more like, are you happy? Like, do you want to do this? I'm super laid back now. That also reminds me of BeautyCon. I think that was like my first BeautyCon ever, and if you don't know, my first love is music, right? But beauty is like right after. And I used to call it a guilty pleasure, but YouTube, I would sit on YouTube for hours and I was just so into YouTube. And I felt like I was like didn't realize it, but like when I started my channel, I had started in music, and then I shifted to beauty. I was all over the place with it, but beauty has always been something that I love. So being able to go to BeautyCon for the first time and meet some of my favorite YouTubers was amazing, especially like being on my natural hair journey and like really getting familiar with makeup at that time. Like I think I was really minimal. I literally just did my eyebrows. I think I'd wear blush. That was like my lipstick era too. I had started wearing lipstick in 2016. I feel like this is all over the place, but like so many memories. Like, what a time. That was an amazing year. Like, I didn't even talk about the internet and memes. Like, the internet was such a fun time. Like, outside of Snapchat and Instagram, like, we were doing flat lays. It's like when you put the things that you like on the ground and take an overhead photo of it. So like I would take photos of my vinyls. This is when I was like DJing with like vinyls and using 1200s, like my needles, which till this day, I love the art of it, but those needles used to stress me out. I think you could put like lipstick, just like anything that you liked, you put on a flat lay on the ground and then you'd shoot it from above. And like those were such a vibe. Like people would post those on their Instagram, and then that was the photo. Like you didn't have to have a photo of yourself up. Like you're just posting things that you like. I feel like Woman Crush Wednesday and Men Crush Monday was a thing then. I could be wrong. It might have been a little bit before that, but I feel like people were still doing that. I feel like oversharing wasn't really a thing then. I feel like people would do that more on YouTube, not really on Instagram. Instagram was more like photos, like pretty photos and the aesthetic vibe. I think that was the year that Vine might have ended. Those 6 seconds, and I hear they're bringing Vine back. So maybe 2026 will be the new 2016. I don't know. I feel like I discovered a lot of creators, a lot of people that do skits and stuff that I find very entertaining on that app. So that was a time. Polaroids were also a time. I feel like I took so many Polaroids. Like the photos that I'm going to have to pull out, or the work that I'm going to have to do to look for these photos, because when I say I have a lot, I was always taking photos. If you know me, you know I take photos of everything. So that's the thing. And then memes. Oh my goodness. The meme pages hit so different. I feel like Repost was really big back then. Like, and even some of the memes that we were sharing back then, like we still run those memes today, till this day. So that was a great time. That was a great time to be on Twitter too. Like Twitter, that was a great time. When was it ever a bad time to be on Twitter? And I feel like gold and rose gold as well was also like a thing. Like I had to pull this out. I wanted this MacBook so bad. This is like a gold. I don't even know what inch is this, 12 or 14 inch. I don't know. But I got this around that time, and I feel like I don't want to throw it on the floor, but I'm gonna have to turn that on and see what's on there. I also got I still have my iPhone from 2016, and like holding it in my hand, it just feels so crazy. Like when I hold my 2016 iPhone up, or like when I'm looking at the photos of me like doing mirror selfies with it, I'm like, bro, this is not even real. Like imagine using this now. Like look at how much technology has evolved. But oh yeah, the half up and half down, the space buns, those were a thing back then for hair. I didn't even think about that. I really used to wear my hair in 2 buns. I don't know why I don't like the name space buns, but yeah, that's what they're called. I used to wear my hair in the space buns, and the half up, half down curly thing was my vibe. Yo, do you remember how Kanye had people in a chokehold? Kanye and Adidas with these Yeezy 350s. Like they were like Pokemon. You had to have them all. You had to have every color. My cousin was telling me how she would like enter in like one of those like sneaker lotteries to get them in person. And I remember NMDs being a thing. Air Force Ones will forever be a thing. Let's be so for real. But Vans, I kept a pair of Vans on me at all times. I feel like that's what everybody was wearing. Even on the East Coast, people were wearing Vans, which is kind of crazy. And in terms of streetwear, what were we doing in streetwear? I think Fear of God was big. Jerry Lorenzo had like people layering their neutrals. I think that's the year he did the collab with Justin Bieber for his merch. Who else was bubbling? Heron Preston, Gosha, literally Off-White. I think Off-White had their first Virgil had his first Off-White show in Paris that year. It was just like a time for a lot of firsts. I think I talked about hair. Like everything was so minimal. Like nails, very minimal, nude, makeup, very minimal. Well, except for me, because I was, experimenting with my eyebrows and wearing them purple and blue eyeliner. That was my thing. But other than that, I was like pretty neutral. And lips were a thing. The Kylie lip kits were such a thing then. Like, I don't know if I said this before, but like I felt like those were also like Pokemon. Like I had to have them all. Like that Mary Jo red, to die for. Like what a time. Not to mention that was, like I said, the first year I moved to LA. So it's just bringing back so many memories. Like I'm sitting here like reflecting with you guys, and I'm like, wow. I don't know if we did song of the day, because if I'm being so for real, my camera died, and but I chose 3 songs. So for my first song of the day, it's Frank Ocean, Pink and White. And then my second song is going to be Calvin Harris featuring Rihanna, This Is What You Came For. I remember DJing at my cousin's school. Like it was like what is it called when you do like the end of the year concert? It was one of those. And I went on right before Waka Flocka, and I just remember dropping This Is What You Came For by Rihanna, and the crowd went nuts. So it was like jumping up and down. What a time. Like that was so much fun. So I would do This Is What You Came For, Calvin Harris featuring Rihanna, and then I think my third song would be Designer Panda, because Designer had the people going crazy that year. I feel like it brings back so many memories, even like the Kanye remixes and all that. That was so fun. Like why can't we just have that kind of fun again? But were we dabbing that year too? Like was that the year of the dab? I know that was the year of the mannequin challenge when Ray Sherman had everybody in the clubs freezing. So for those of you who don't recall or you weren't there, Ray Sherman had a song and Black Beatles, and literally everybody would freeze in the middle of the club or wherever you were when that song dropped. We were saying squad goals, and everything was on fleek that year. Everything, like on fleek. That phrase just gives me the ick, to be quite honest. So all in all, 2016 was one of those years. It was a great experience, and if 2026 is anything like 2016, then we're all going to have a great year. My advice to all of you is to document this year, because 10 years from now, hey, history might repeat itself. But anyways, please drop some of your 2016 memories. I don't know if I missed anything from 2016, but if I did, leave it in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next episode. It's been real and it's been nice. In other words, it's been real nice. Bye.